I'm Diane Buckner. Welcome to Venture. You know that shoebox full of tax receipts so many people take to their accountants at this time of year? Tonight, you're going to meet a Canadian entrepreneur who pulled some economic hope out of that shoebox, and he sent it halfway around the globe. Sasha Petrusik has the story.
In Canada's business jungle, all tracks lead here, where traders and headhunters roam, where lions of modern industry reign, where accountants carry the Bay Street beat by keeping its books. In fact, the heat is on accountants to keep better books. If they're like Jerry Henshaw, they have a problem.
I think accountants want their job to be easier. I don't think they enjoy the clients who bring in a shoebox full of papers.
Chits, checks, and charges, invoices, and expenses. They all arrive desperately needing organization before calculation. They come from small or mid-sized businesses, like most of the clients at Wall & Associates, a Toronto accounting firm. For George Wall, finding enough casual workers to do that kind of data entry every year was a big challenge. Demanding quick turnaround, a big problem. Paying them up to $20 an hour, a big expense. It's a service way too pricey for many clients around here.
We would say we can give you a Cadillac version. It'll be a Cadillac cost.
But what if the service didn't come from around here? What if Wall could find someone to do it for 1/10 the hourly wage somewhere else?
By using this global outsourcing, we can give a Cadillac for the price of a Volkswagen.
Or maybe even a moped. The new approach to accounting is actually pretty simple. When that shoebox arrives, it goes straight to Wall's supply room, where his son Andrew feeds each scrap of paper into a high-speed scanner. The images are stored on a small server, one with a big pipeline to the internet. While Bay Street sleeps, billions of pixels go flying halfway around the world, from Canada to Africa. As if by magic, a receipt from a Calgary bar and grill lands on Mugisa Simire's computer screen, then another and another, ready to be keyed in and categorized.
This is where the world is heading. I would guess that people in Canada are used to this kind of thing. I mean, something new here, we're just getting into the whole thing.
It is something very new here. In downtown Kampala, Uganda, where poverty lives next door to potential, in a building smack dab on the equator. What, no elevator?
No. This used to be an old, very old warehouse and whatever. Very humble beginnings.
Past the dusty telephone junction box that dials up the internet, in a freshly painted room with a dozen computers just out of the box, a dozen workers just recently hired.
You come and choose him from the home page, and the client's file will be brought up.
Their boss, the man who holds the contract to provide this service, is a 20-something Ugandan with a commerce diploma, Abu Luwaga.
We teach them commitment to our contract, time management, and all the other aspects that change them and prepare them to do work for a Canadian while they're in Uganda.
The startup funds come from Abu Luwaga's family. The hookup with Canada,
What we're going to be implementing is
comes through an Ottawa-based business consultant, Jacques Rosten. His advice?
boys, watch the pennies, don't make the mistakes. It's not because you're working with Canada that you have hit the jackpot yet. You're going to have to work very hard. There is competition out there. There's competition from other developing countries which would love to get their hands on the business that you're getting.
The workers are keen. In most cases, they're already trained as bookkeepers or accountants, though they haven't all had a chance to work in their field. They're eager to see what the developed world has to offer Ugandans.
Those who have gone to school can't go pick coffee now. They have better jobs to do.
Many, like Alan Oke, never laid hands on a computer before.
Yeah, there are times when it has jammed, you know, but you press somewhere and all of a sudden everything is off and you're like, what did I do wrong?
We have the checks, we have the debit card withdrawals, we have the cash withdrawals.
They are trained to recognize financial documents and short forms.
Okay, quick, what does GST stand for?
Wow.
You don't think you'd be tested?
I forget.
The system will allow you enter one
But most of all, they're being trained to think the way Canadian business does.
We come from different cultures. There's a different business culture here than there is in Canada.
And we have about 8 hours time difference. The next day they should be able to find the work done. That's
Every chance he gets, Abu Luaga reminds them about deadlines and privacy.
You know how important confidentiality is, yeah? We are doing very sensitive information, yeah? And that's why we have told you guys not to bring in mobiles.
No cell phones here, no saving files or images. The heart of the company's network, this single PC really, has been set up to prevent copying. Back in Toronto at Wall & Associates,
they're also going to be able to see who the check was paid to.
The software has been designed to catch mistakes and missing pieces by Andrew Wall.
The advantage here is it's a lot easier to do an audit.
Let's say the shoebox has a check sent to Revenue Canada, but it comes back from Uganda showing no receipt.
And if any of those are missing or there's a key error, the amount is out, the integrity checker will actually notify you.
All in the split second it takes for data to go from Kampala to Canada.
So what are the implications of all of this, of making it so easy for information to fly from Toronto to Kampala? From here in the first world to the third world and back. People here figure it's just the kind of modern miracle Uganda needs.
Telecommunications has been one of the brighter spots in this economy, fueled by cell phones and a growing number of internet cafes. Construction has also been good. But Ugandans are struggling. On average, they make about $1 a day. The country still relies on coffee, a commodity whose price has plummeted for most of its export income. And the government, it still relies on foreign donors for almost half its budget. That's why it has high hopes when projects like this one from Canada
and that Uganda will benefit from it.
Show up on the doorstep of the Minister of Foreign Investment.
It's a sector that can make us competitive because our people have the knowledge and the skills.
Sam Kuteza concedes the technical skills aren't quite as good as they are in some Asian countries.
No, we are not trying to compete with India. We're trying to do our own thing but we think we have the potential, we have the skills.
And now the means to bring jobs to young, educated Ugandans instead of sending them abroad.
They can do their work without having to move. That's number one. Number two, I think it will even take development into the countryside, because you can go and do business in the countryside and as if you are living in Kampala. So it will change people's lives.
A few blocks away, as they focus on the bills and bank statements of Canadians, these Ugandans say it's already changed their own prospects, even if they're making little more than $1 an hour for a job that pays $20 in Toronto.
If I was an entrepreneur, I would also be looking for people who I could pay a lot less, even if it meant going around the whole world, going to the other side of the world.
I wouldn't call that exploitation. I would prefer to call it a partnership, a strategic partnership.
I mean, so, okay, now I'm on the other side, but I feel I'm going to be paid quite a bit of money, so everybody's happy.
Well, not quite yet.
A huge advantage of that is being able to outsource it to the most cost-efficient.
Despite all the PowerPoint presentations back in Toronto, folks here admit not all clients and colleagues have jumped at the chance to zip their documents off to Africa.
It's a very tough sell to talk to accountants to take on new technology and to change the way of doing things.
George Wall's convinced they will eventually.
This is where we hope to move to. This is where we hope to do the operationalization.
Abu Luaga is banking on it.
That's going to be the training room.
He's leasing bigger and better space in a Kampala office tower.
Here is where I hope that I will sit.
That's going to be your office?
Yeah, this is going to be my office.
He knows it's a bit risky, but he figures snazzy new offices, along with clients in North America, should also impress businesses in Africa.
We have the name of being the people who work online for Canadian firms. Now we would want to send the same message to Ugandan firms. This would show that we are somewhere.
Somewhere on the road to success, somewhere on the other side of the world, paperwork now gets filed. For Venture, I'm Sasha Petrusik in Kampala, Uganda.
When we come back, want a few tips on working a tough crowd?
Clearly, the costs associated with Kyoto.
Fly a few thousand miles.
Only we're starting to land.
In John Manley's shoes.
Closed captioning brought to you by Visa. Visit our small business website to find a Visa card that's right for your business.
Ed, I've just got one question.
Shoot.
I've got some money left over. Should I top up my RSP or pay down my mortgage?
Yes. Huh? Yes. In your case, you contribute to your RSP, you take your tax refund, you put it against your mortgage.
Yes.
Every day, we help more Canadians make the most of their money. Investors Group. Solutions built around you.
Want to save an average of 20% on your energy bills? Invest in an EnerGuide for Houses evaluation and find out how. Independent experts will check your home from top to bottom and advise you on how to save energy and money. Contact us today for the name of your local EnerGuide for Houses expert. EnerGuide for Houses can help you take action on climate change. Together, we can do it. A message from the Government of Canada.
The Post is a paper that challenges complacency and asks questions that people either are afraid to ask or hadn't thought of asking. I don't want to be too competitive, but I wring my hands sometimes when I read other papers and I say, is it outlawed? Is it a crime to just write the English language with passion and variety? You hear voices in the National Post. And in other newspapers, sometimes I'm afraid all you hear is the news.
National Post. Subscribe now. 1-800-668-POST.
On the surface, people may appear to be quite similar, but we realize everyone is truly unique. BMO Financial Group. Financial solutions for the world you live in.
There's a federal budget coming out this week, and rookie Finance Minister John Manley may have a surplus to play with. That demands big decisions about priorities, but as Chris Goldrick reports, it also involves a cross-country PR campaign to prepare everyone for what Manley will and won't be handing out.
Jill Denham, who is the Vice
Late November, 50 floors above Bay Street. Finance Minister John Manley is on a whirlwind 3-hour visit to Toronto.
Terry, how are you?
He's here to pitch the upcoming budget, his first as Finance Minister.
Very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
This sales job is vital for the government, but also critical for Manley, a man with his eye on the Liberal leadership.
Yeah, the two Johns.
Markham fundraiser.
The famous two Johns.
Where I was shamelessly lobbied on,
Oh, yes.
you know, guess what?
Oh, and so you're not going to be lobbied today, right?
No, not at all.
Small talk over, it's down to business.
Compete in a global economy.
These women entrepreneurs are the 8th group John Manley has met on his pre-budget tour, and the 8th group asking for a bigger piece of the pie.
The Canadian Television Fund is constantly up for renewal.
Manley listens, and then it's on to part 2 of his sales strategy, downplay expectations.
I think you can see from the numbers that I've given you that we're not anticipating the large surpluses that we've had in recent years.
Sound familiar? It should.
For 2001, $8.5 billion.
Here's Paul Martin lowballing the budget surplus. He did that all the time.
What you see is what you get.
Manley says he's not up to the same tricks.
I'm predicting that our surplus is going to be bigger than I'm predicting. Economic forecasting is certainly more of an art than a science.
For this crowd, Manley promises more health and child care spending.
All of our public opinion research tells us is the #1 issue for Canadians, which is health care.
The meeting over.
Mohammed Arkat, 34, Algeria, was arrested in Ottawa last week.
Time for a quick briefing before an interview. Wait a minute, this doesn't sound like budget talk.
We can't say anything about it, okay? So I know CTV is going to ask you about that.
What time do we have to leave? Now.
Yeah.
When you're finance minister as well as deputy prime minister, you've got a lot on your plate.
Thank you very much. Extremely well.
So just when you want to pitch your budget plan, the journalists want to talk about terrorism.
I would not be surprised that there are people who have links to Al-Qaeda that are in Canada.
Fast forward, mid-January, Edmonton. Another leg of the pre-budget sales tour. The Kyoto Accord has just been ratified. Oil-rich Albertans are bound to be in a foul mood.
So shall we just run over again what you're going to be doing for the next hour? You are going to meet the Edmonton Chamber of Commerce.
It's a pleasure to welcome Minister Manley to the Edmonton Chamber of Commerce.
It starts well. Maybe they won't want to talk Kyoto.
So there is a lot positive to deal with.
Then,
Clearly, the costs associated with Kyoto, particularly to the extent that it deals with the purchase of emission credits and the like, raises our cost structure relative.
At that point, with things heating up, this behind-the-scenes shoot comes to an abrupt end. We're asked to leave. After the meeting, much to Manley's handler's relief, no mention of Kyoto or Paul Martin, but plenty on the budget.
We're not going to go into deficit. Canada's committed to that.
An hour later, next meeting, the University of Alberta.
Freeze the fees.
Yes, sir.
Students here are facing big tuition hikes. Manley once again proves he's a good salesman. He knows when to just listen.
In medicine, I believe it's 5,000.
Sympathy, but no promises.
Well, good luck.
It's off to a closed-door meeting with professors. Manley is praised for his prudent financial plan, but once again,
Kyoto is fundamentally flawed.
This is uncomfortable.
I may need another career, you never know.
This salesman is slick. Manley sidesteps Kyoto and talks healthcare.
Healthcare will fill a big part of the available funds.
Next day, 6 a.m. On board a government jet headed to Saskatoon. Manley takes a few minutes to see what the media thinks of his message. Then, time to fine-tune that sales strategy.
Okay. Mike, can you expand on that for a minute?
So we talked to John Gormley, former MP, who now runs a very large radio talk show across Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Okay, what kind of radio? Is this a all-day talk radio?
All-day talk news radio, yeah.
After your radio interview, we'll go to the University of Saskatchewan for your first pre-budget consultation.
Now, this is where one of the classes has actually prepared a budget.
That's right.
There's a class of about 80 students that prepared a budget and went through the whole process.
Can we see their budget?
Time is flying, and the plane is nearing final approach.
We were starting to land.
Just a few seconds to check briefing notes. When you've got extra money, more people come asking. The Saskatchewan Premier wants extra cash, and the story is in the papers.
The trouble with this is they kind of portray it as though it's a decision of the federal government to reduce equalization payments sort of arbitrarily.
Half an hour later, first stop, the University of Saskatchewan.
Hi.
This sales trip is timed to the minute. Manley arrives with seconds to spare.
That throws up a deficit in the short term, I think.
First, more talk of prudence.
But I don't think that Canadians would tolerate us spending our way into deficit.
And then praise, not for Paul Martin, but the Prime Minister.
There's nobody tougher on government spending than the Prime Minister. And I know that from experience.
Could I just get a picture with my boys and you?
Of course.
An hour later, next stop, the Saskatoon Chamber of Commerce. This certainly looks a lot like a leadership campaign.
Minister, right this way.
And once again, no Paul Martin, but plenty about the Prime Minister.
Having been the Prime Minister that led the government from a $42 billion deficit to the only one in the G7 running surpluses, is a heck of a good legacy.
When I left Ottawa yesterday, it was about -30.
After a closed-door meeting with the Saskatchewan Premier, Manley commits to considering new money. This trip is over. Time to head back home. Shortly after, Manley makes it official. The budget will be released in a week. But the first question after the announcement...
In regards to Iraq, is the game over?
Well, we hope the games are over. The games have been largely played trying to avoid the responsibility that I think Iraq has.
With so many distractions, selling this budget after it's tabled may be even tougher. But Manley is counting on his pre-sales tour, making that task a little easier. For Venture, I'm Chris Goldrick.
The CBC will be bringing you full coverage of this Tuesday's budget starting at 4 o'clock on both the main channel and on CBC News World.
We all want different things. We all want different things, but we all need the same thing: advice. Call now for an Altamira Wealth Check. Get personalized advice no matter what the size of your portfolio. Call 1-888-ALTAMIRA today.
It's my downtime.
It's your thing. Do what you want to do. We're going to the fair. I can't tell you.
Gets me to class.
Who to sock you to. Hey.
It's my other set of wheels.
All right.
I'm going to see my boyfriend.
We went to the fair, all right.
It's your thing. Do what you want to do.
Introducing the new Nissan Murano for your adventures in on-roading.
Dad, where do birds go in winter?
They fly south.
Why so?
It's where it's warm.
Can we go when it's warm?
Well, I'd love to, but I gotta work.
When will you get to stop working?
Sooner than you think.
CIBC Peace of Mind RRSPs. Start retiring today.
So it will always be Saturday?
Got a business emergency? Ready to call 911? Don't call them, call us. And you could win a session with this top-notch consultant.
The only way you get a patent is by breaking the rules.
For years, Doug Hall has been corporate America's sweetheart, a $1 million idea man.
Pioneers to journey forth and to figure out ways to make it work. High fives, all right, right!
He's helped companies like Pepsi, Disney, and Sony. But you've got a small business, so who cares, right?
Yeah.
That's what marketing warfare is about.
Wrong. Big businesses pay hundreds of thousands for Hall's help. You could get it for free.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Doubled it. More than doubled it.
Yes, he might yell at you.
Fire their butts! I mean, these guys are incompetent.
He'll tell you things you don't want to hear.
How much freaking business do you have? You got nothing. You got squat. Give it. Ah!
He might even take off his shoes.
You give me 4 hours, I can make miracles that can occur.
If your small business needs a miracle, or at least a few good ideas,
This is high art.
put Doug Hall to the test and let Venture share your experience.
We must have sold almost twice the chimes last summer as we did the year before.
Oh.
Contact me, Tracy Ty at Venture. That's Venture at CBC.ca.
Worth every cent of the $50,000 US that I didn't pay.
Entrepreneurs anywhere in Canada are eligible to win Doug's services, so write up your business challenge and send it to Tracy. Now, here's a look at a story coming soon on Venture.
There's lots of noise about breaking our dependence on oil.
America can lead the world in developing clean, hydrogen-powered automobiles.
But here in California, where drivers love their gas guzzlers,
when you let your foot off the clutch, you know you're going somewhere.
how long until hydrogen cars take over?
It's a question. 20 or 50 years, I can't answer it.
Powering the future.
The opportunity is $1 trillion.
And the Canadian companies trying to make it happen. Coming soon on Venture.
That's our program for this week. For everyone here at Venture and Sunday Report, I'm Diane Buckner. See you next week.
I will follow through.
I will be fair in the way I serve you.
I will go the extra mile.
I will value your money as much as my own.
I give you my word.
I give you my word.
Keeping our word is standard. Standard life. Ask your financial security advisor about our RRSP options.
I'm running late. Start without me. Squeeze.
Ow.
Limited flexibility. Taking care of you, Mary? Diagnosis.
Inflammation pain. Arthritis inflammation pain.
Exactly. Solution?
Targeted pain relief.
Aspirin. Aspirin relieves the burning pain of arthritis inflammation right at the site. Sounds good, Jack. Keep it up. So we know that aspirin relieves everyday arthritis pain. Anything else?
Aspirin is also doctor recommended for supervised daily preventative therapy.
Available coated. Ask your doctor if aspirin is right for you.
We all want different things. We all want different things, but we all need the same thing: advice. Call now for an Altamira wealth check. Get personalized advice no matter what the size of your portfolio. Call 1-888-ALTAMIRA today.
Europe, 1944. Rocks, trees, and rivers. When a bridge was needed, they were the ones who made it. Some people said they were paving the road to victory.
I will listen.
I will keep my promises.
I will be here when you need me.
I give you my word.
I give you my word. I give you my word.
Keeping our word is standard. Standard life. Ask your financial security advisor about our RRSP options.
Watch CBC News World for continuing coverage from all the international hotspots. CBC News foreign correspondents deliver the latest, balanced and insightful reports on CBC News World. An unflattering book about